Hey guys, Ben coming to you again from Ben's Audio Cave. As you can see, we are here at the cleaning station. It is right after the holiday, and I got some goodies in. So what are we going to talk to you about today? Well, we're going to, and I'm going to try to make this a little bit better angle than I normally do. So what we're going to do is we are going to take apart the turntable I've got here because the bearing has got kind of wonky on it. So what I did was I went to All Electronics online, and I found this reduction motor. I've wanted to motorize this thing for a while, so maybe this will be the ticket. So I've bought a few little goodies, the motor and the transmission for it, to make it better and make it, you know, to where it should be able to turn the turntable. We're about $8. I bought a transformer for it. It's 12 volts. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, for like $8 as well. So it's a $16 improvement. There's going to be some stuff to do. You guys might get to see me do some really silly things along the way, because today we're actually going to be retrofitting this with a proper motor, and we got to test it and everything. So we'll see where it goes. All right, guys. So I'm going to change our camera angle a little bit and widen it out so you can see what we're doing, and let's get started. All right, so now you guys can't see me, but you can at least see the turntable over here. So let me show you this. This platter has gotten like super wonky here. It's not doing very well anymore. So if I take this off, I'm gonna go ahead and do this. You know, it's a spindle. It's just gotten very wobbly. This was a belt drive turntable before. So this is what I got from All Electronics. This is a 24 volt gear reduction. It's supposed to spin at 46 RPM at 24 volts, so it should spin at 23 RPM, and it should be good and strong. Now this pulley here should be able to be taken off with a screwdriver or whatnot. It's got an end. We're going to snip this off. There's my All Electronics book that they sent me. Now here's the other things I ordered. I ordered these switches. The idea is I'm going to probably drill a hole through this and mount one of these switches so I can turn this rotation on and off. I'm going to try and mount this. I already checked the depth. It should be fine. I'm going to try to mount this right in the center where the other thing was, where the spindle was. And I got to take all this stuff out. I've already had this apart once to do a bunch of this stuff. It's not really that big of a deal. The one thing I do want to do really quickly is I want to take this over here, which is my power supply that I ordered. And I want to make sure that everything's going to be, you know, on the level. So if you notice, just regular cord, kind of cheap. Challenger cable cells, power supply, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay, so it's a 12 volt 3 amp. Should be fine. Should be plenty enough spot. Of course, you guys might as well know we're going to snip some ends off here and see the way this works. We got to make sure we get everything right. So, let me pause this for just, let me grab my tool over here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to leave some length on this in case I ever wanted to reuse this end. Highly doubt it. We're going to snip this off, and I am going to solder this stuff later, but for now we're in testing mode, so let's test. This got like a nice little wire stripper on it here, maybe. All right, there's one wire stripped. And there's 2 wires stripped. Okay. I'll do the same thing on this motor. I'm going to kind of leave some length on this, and I'm going to set these over here to the side. We got it red and black. I'm wondering if this motor is bidirectional. May figure out a way to do like a switch later to allow me to reverse this motor if it is bidirectional. If it's not, that's good. The only reason I say is because it's got a gear drive attached to it, and that gear drive sometimes throws a bit of a wrench in the situation. So now we've got our wires nice and stripped. Let me see if I've got a piece of tape. I do not. I will have later. So let's go ahead and twist these up for the time being, because we're going to be resolving this now. Let's make sure these are good and far apart. No touching. So now then, next one, I'm going to have to get us a cord here. So I'm going to kind of pull up my cleaning rig here. You know what, let's go underneath here and do it this way. And we'll bring this up through here. We're going to ditch this cord here too, by the way. And there we go. So now we've got a cable up through here. Should be good. Okay, so now we've got this all hooked up. Let's see how powerful this guy is going to be. So let's go ahead and plug him in. So this is a Mabuki 380. It gives us an idea of the rotation. Yeah, I'm not going to stop that with a vacuum cleaner. So that's a good thing. So let's unhook it. It takes a while to shut off. I did want to see if it would rotate the other way. So let's try that out and see. All right. And it does. Okay. So this tells me I need to do something to be able to reverse the polarity on it. And I will eventually. Probably not right this second, but I will eventually. So just looking at this, I don't want to make some sort of a hole. Unless I can come over here and do this. I may be able to just kind of notch this out a little bit and put this over here and mount it here. Either way, it will work. So what I want to do is take this turntable apart. So I have taken this apart many times. I'm going to make this faster myself by using this handy dandy little tool. My snap-on screwdriver. My favorite one. Alright, so probably should be using a number 1, it appears. Except number 2 is a... So now then, I think I have one more screw till this comes apart. I do, it's this one right here. Okay, so now this ought to just come apart. And it does. So, okay. I don't know why I kept all this junk on here. Oh yeah, I do. Because this bearing right here, I needed to set the turntable on. Well, I'm not doing that anymore. So, I'm going to finish gutting this guy. Take everything out. Alright, so now then. Let's get down to the real nitty gritty. Let's start looking at what we got to do to make this guy serviceable for this. Well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is this will likely never mate to this. We can take this spindle out like so and see. Now, this might go in there, but that never will. So, what's it got to do? It says this pulley can be removed. So we'll get the heavy tuning tool and see if they're telling the truth. It moves a little bit. Let me move this out of the way. So, oh, nope, I got it. Yay. Finally. Now, how does this fit on here? And actually, this fits pretty good. Problem is, needs to fit on this to let it come up and mate with the album. So how am I going to do that? Interesting. So now I got a plan. So what I'm going to do, here we go into the wheel stuff, is this guy right here presses in here just fine. And as you can see, it's pretty solid. And this will go right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to epoxy this to it, and then it'll become like kind of one solid piece, and it should be okay. Got to make sure I beat this thing in here pretty good though. Easy enough. Okay, so there. Now you guys are getting to see me solution on the fly. There's one problem resolved. Now start here and how we're going to mount this guy. So ideally, let's look at it from underneath, because ideally we would mount this guy right here through the center from underneath in an ideal world. The world we live in is far from ideal, but I think I can fix that part of this. So once again, heavy tuning tool. Luckily, most of this plastic from years of sitting here is pretty daggone brittle. So it's just going to come right on off for us. And give us a little bit of clearance, maybe. So let's see here. Is that like very close to the center? But how many screws can I get bit on here? Not many. Let's take a look and see if we can get rid of all these. Okay, yeah, because I want to get rid of them without like completely breaking them off. Oh, good. Awesome. Okay, so now then, that's probably going to be a lot better. It is. And we do have some weird clearance in here, but I think it'll be fine. We'll shim up some washers and make this work. So now then, to find the perfect screws. Okay. Next problem. What size screws work in these holes? Well, it's definitely not that one. What about you, Mr. Screw? No, you're still too small. How about you? Nope, still too small. These are going to be metric. I have this feeling. How about you? Let's see if you'll work. A little tight. All right. So there's problem number one solved. Let's see a bit that is small enough to go down through here, and there is one. So now then, this is weird, by the way. If you notice, this bit is small enough to go in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up this spindle. I'm trying not to kill myself. Let me slow this puppy down here just a little bit. Okay. Line up the spindle here. And just like that, I drilled a hole where this needs to go. Now, interestingly enough, I have bolts and everything else for these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get me a number 2. Ben's Audio Cave needs new tools. If anyone would like to sponsor me with some new tools, feel free. Just kidding. I'll go get some. But seems like I never bring the right tools out of the garage when I need them. Okay, so now let's see. We're in the center enough. We got our screws in here. This ain't going nowhere. So that's good. This mess, not good. Luckily, our vacuum that we use for our records, oh goodness, come out of here, messy, will also double as a vacuum for this. Let's test fit, first of all, this back on here. We got to make sure this is going to clear. That's the other reason why I wanted to get this on here, to make sure it's going to clear, and it appears that I'm a little out of luck. I may have to cut that out. So let's test fit our platter. That is a bit too high, okay? Good news and bad news. The good news is I've got holes. The bad news is this is in the wrong place. Do the same thing. We got our screw hole we originally put in here. I'm going to go ahead and get it through with this. Now, got a good bite going on. Should be the same thing on this one. Now, that is solid. We are going to have to probably, because now see this doesn't go together, we're going to have to do a little extra work on this to make this work right. But I do believe this is going to be a better setup than what we originally had. I'm just going to have to find a way to thicken this up a little bit. So that shouldn't be a big deal. Let's see how the platter is going to mount on here. I think that's going to be much better. Since this is the way we're going to do it, I'm going to go ahead and kind of knock this on here a little bit. Yeah, we're going to check this out. at least get it where I can test it. Okay, so what have we discerned? What have we discerned? It looks like our platter is too far down on here. Okay, so after making my wife mad and some hours, I came up with this. Put the piece of wood in here. It's going to allow our turntable to bolt to here, which is going to allow it to bolt to that down there. In addition, I want to cut this screw off. I'm going to use this as our new spindle. I don't know why I didn't think of this like a carpenter to begin with. Could be because I am a horrible carpenter. All right, so next thing is I'm going to need some washers. Some washers that will actually fit. I think that might be just right. Okay. So now then, spindle's still a little loopy, but we're going to fix that with a, which I guess I could go with my original idea of epoxy, or try something a little more drastic considering I have it. But it's what we got. So I'll just bend it straight. No big deal, right? It's on there. It's a little wonky, but it's on there. See how that goes. Okay. Looking good. Now, really, what I kind of want to do is probably a stupid idea. Is I kind of want to drill through this Vinyl Vac and put me a screw clamp on here, but I ain't going to do that. Let me see if I can just. Okay, so I hacksawed it, and then I came back and finished it. So now, let's see. About as perfect as can be, with the exception of these screws are sticking up a little too much. Let me grab this felt mat, which I'm not terribly care for. This may be too thick now, but let's see. Now, about this. Yeah, that ought to work just fine. Okay, well, so now what? Okay, so in the next line of, it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to work fixes. This is kind of what I've come up with. I'm going to take these wood screws and we're going to screw them into the original points, and then it's going to sit on these kind of from now on. Like I said, I'm going to file it under the not the best option out there ever, but absolutely an option that will work. So let's get down to wiring this thing up. Ooh, that sounded expensive. I've spent enough time on this today. Okay, so where can I find a place for these to go in? These are press fit buttons, and I really don't feel like drilling another hole. So the other idea is to take something I've already got and alter it. You know what, this time I'm just going to go ahead and use the knife. It'll probably work out better this way. And as expected, it did work out way better this way. There. I like that. That'll work. So let's flip this guy back over. All we have to do is split one positive and one negative. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to, and I'm using a gun for this, people. I'm not in that big a hurry, but this guy served me well. So, first things first. Call this the hot. Of course I will, because it's got the stripe. I would tell you what I do ideally, but nothing about this project's been terribly ideal. So, actually, there's ideally, and then there's a hot mess. I'm trying to go not for hot mess, so. Stick this out in here. And we'll get a resin core solder. Put a little dab of solder on. Ah, now we're getting hot. Something wrong with the gun. Thought I was losing my mind for a second. It's like this guy should be blistering freaking hot. Look at there. Just like clockwork, I discovered it was not. but now it is. Our project has been soldered. So now, what next? Now, let's take our bottom and kindly line it up a little bit. But you'll see the method of my madness here in just a moment. Now, I'll leave it just as it is. So, these are actually deck screws. We just want to get a few threads in here because it's obvious these are not as fine thread screws that came out. Okay, so that's it. We want to get just enough to bite on there. All right, let's see if this works. We got to deal with ifs today. So this should actually slide down. Look at there. It actually works, with the exception of it is a little not level. This one needs to go in quite a bit. So let's do that. Good enough. All right, so interestingly enough, this doesn't look all that bad. And I could probably just leave this alone at this point. No, I'm not gonna. I'm going to grab the felt. I got this for another part of the DIY record cleaning machine. And I was thinking, you know what? We might get away with actually, I feel like Kevin on Home Alone. Hey guys, check this out. Except so put old Neil on here. And look at there. But let's see if it works. Does what I want it to do. Turn this on. Label protector. Duh, stupid. Give this almost out of charger clean. Not out. Okay, so that's plenty. Now then, this brush. Really does a good job of spreading it. Really not used too much too. So, paint pad. Now, that is the smoother side of the paint pad. As the rougher side. But this is normally what I do. I mean, the turntable is not stopping. And as you can see, I've just about buffed this thing dry. So let's get our cleaning. Keep pushing this back. Our cleaning wand. Suction. Maybe. There we go. And turn it. Actually, I'm going to have to refactor some of this stuff here. But that's good, because I've got a way to do it now. Okay, so that's still on. I actually did a good job, so let's keep it on, actually. Label protector. And let's apply a rinse. Okay, I'm going to use the Audio Technica brush for this one. All right. That's good. Let's check this out. All right, here we go. Look at there. This record's bad off. Don't get me wrong. But it's clean. And now, we have a record cleaning machine that's self-powered. Pretty neat stuff. I'm glad I actually got to do this, but this has been a challenge. I'm not going to lie. I've got a ton to clean up. if my, I will say, if my bearing in my platter hadn't went wonky, I likely would have never have done this. Now, here's what I will say. Actually, let me kick over here to where you can see me, and we'll talk about it. Whew, am I glad that's over. So, here's what I found out. Number one, I'm not a good carpenter. I never professed to be, but I'm pretty awful. I've got some decent looking results in there. I'm going to continue to clean it up a little bit more. You're going to see it in a few more videos. Here's what I would say. I probably should have started with a block of wood and my turntable platter and retained that only. This would have been way, way easier if I would have done that. It's an investment of time. Now here's what I'll say. The all electronics 850 turntable motor gizmo with the transmission, it's great. So if you're planning on using like an old turntable platter like I did, you might want to give that some thought. Here's what I found out. More than likely what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut myself a new platter entirely out of MDF. Why? Because that's going to be a lot easier, and I can just screw it straight down, countersink it onto the turning platform and get it right. I'm likely going to build myself a wooden box made out of plywood. I'll measure it and go, or not out of plywood, out of MDF, and get Lowe's to cut it for me. I'll probably just cover it in either that velvet, because I actually think that looks cool, or in black, and I'm going to get it to where it's exactly the right size. For now, my makeshift record cleaner will work. It's a work in progress. If I'd taken a little bit more time to plan, I probably would have been a little bit better off. Now, I made this work. You guys watched me make it work. And it works great. But so here's my synopsis. Put a little time, put a little effort in planning. We'll revisit this in another video. And you guys will see like the version 2.0 of the automatic record cleaner. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching and learning with me. And I appreciate it. If you guys like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. And until the next time, I'll see you guys from Ben's Audio Cave.